morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with PoE Texas. Today's host is Mr. Tyler Anders, and he is their CEO and will be presenting today. If anyone has any questions, please submit them in the question box, and Tyler will answer them at the end of today's presentation. Tyler, thank you so much for being with us today. Greatly appreciate you making time for Microcom again. Love to hear what you've got for us today. Please go ahead and take it on over.
Well, Julie, thank you for that introduction and giving us an opportunity to present once again on Power over Ethernet to your Microcom audience. So today, I'm going to answer the question of Mode A/B. What's up with that? As with all good technical topics, we engineers love adding terminology to answer questions quickly, and the more obscure the reference, the better. What this means for you is that we get a kick out of doing some really weird sounding answers like, you've just got a mode problem, like it's something you should obviously know about. Who doesn't know what PoE mode is, right? Our blog post on this topic, let me pull this up. Our blog post on this topic has gotten more views than any other educational page on our website. So I'm guessing there are a lot of people out there asking themselves what mode means. Fortunately, it's a very easy answer to a strangely complex question. When you're talking about PoE, mode simply means which wires have the PoE power on them. Let me show you. An Ethernet cable has 8 wires divided up into 4 pairs of wires. For power purposes, they break down into these pairs. 1 and 2, 3 and 6. Yeah, I don't know why it's not 3 and 4, but just go with me on this. 4 and 5, and 7 and 8. Mode A simply means that you have power on pairs 1 and 2 and 3 and 6. Mode B means you have power on pairs 4, 5, and 7, 8. Mode AB means you have power on all 4 pairs at the same time. Now, there's an important detail to know about this power, which is polarity. That just means which of the pairs are positive and which are negative. And you can see our default polarity here. On the mode A, pins 1 and 2 are negative, 3 and 6 are positive, and pins 4 and 5 on mode B are positive, and 7 and 8 are negative. That's it. Mode A and B in a nutshell. What practical purpose could this have, or where we actually see this kind of information out in the wild? You can check out one of our other popular blogs where we discovered that Ubiquiti has a relatively rare polarity change on their mode A wires, making it so that their air fibers randomly fail on anything but Ubiquiti switches and injectors. Bottom line, knowing polarity and mode can save you some real headaches when it comes to building a PoE system. Update my title here. So, how do you tell whether your device is mode A, mode B, or mode AB? And frankly, this is a harder question to answer than it might seem initially because mode is rarely indicated on datasheets. 99% of the time, you can determine which mode to use by looking at your device's required PoE voltage. And I'm showing an example here of a specification. Devices that are powered up with 24 volt or passive PoE often use mode B, unless some people like Mimosa, they specifically call for mode AB. And that's just the most common way to identify whether you're mode A or mode B. Devices that are powered with IEEE standard PoE, often referred to as 802.3A or AF or AT, can, by standard, can almost always power up on either mode A or mode B. They call that ambiguous. There's a way you design that into your piece of equipment that you can't do with passive PoE. But for the sake of simplicity, you can think of mode A as the default condition for most IEEE standards. In fact, if you get a ubiquity switch that says it'll do IEEE 802.3 AF/AT or 24 PoE, what they're really doing is providing IEEE PoE on mode A and passive 24 volt PoE on mode B. Now, every now and then, a company does manufacture a 48 volt PoE device that only works on mode A or mode B. They're relatively rare, and it's contrary to the PoE standards set by the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, aka IEEE. But it turns out that they don't have the power to arrest people for violating their standards. So occasionally somebody will still do it. At any rate, it's easy to solve this problem by simply switching to the other mode. So, does it matter which mode you use in the other? It matters when powering a 24 volt passive PoE device. Typically Microtik, Ubiquiti, when they do that 24 volt power, you do need mode B because that's the way they've built them. When powering a 48 volt device, it shouldn't really matter. It comes up occasionally. So we do recommend to customers to go ahead and use mode A with 48 volt devices like PoE, like IP cameras and VoIP phones. Now, an interesting note here that I'll point out to you, very often in the specifications, you will see something, and I'll pull up this image here, you'll see something like 11 to 57 volts PoE on your device, either a camera or another device. And this is an important statement. There is no such thing as 12 volt PoE. With the power, when you see that on like a specification or a camera, when it says 12 volt / PoE, what it means is the camera accepts 12 volt DC if you plugged it in directly to DC power. But it requires 48 to 56 volt PoE if you plug it in through PoE. And I know that's a little bit confusing, and some people call us up saying, hey, I need, my camera specifically states I need 12 volt PoE. That's what the specification states. And there's only one company that I know that used to do an 18 volt PoE solution where they actually sent 8 to the network cable, but I haven't seen them do that for years. And there's a very good reason, because the PoE at 12 volts, your power loss at say 25 feet is already so high most cameras won't operate. So that's an important detail to know. 12 volt, there's no such thing as 12 volt PoE. Really, for all practical purposes, 24 volt PoE is the lowest voltage you'll actually get on network cable. And again, is one better than the other? No, both mode A and mode B perform just as well as long as they have the right mode for the job. And mode AB, where you have power in both pairs, gives you the full 16 to 90 watt power, or IEEE 802.3 BT PoE. Now, I covered all of the IEEE 802.3 BT and 4-pair PoE and all that in our previous webinar here in Realcomm. So I do recommend going back and checking out the YouTube channel where I covered it specifically. Now, the real answer just comes down to, well, how do I know, or how do I make this decision? When you're ready, we always have live PoE experts right here in Austin, Texas, to answer questions and help you pick the right mode for your product. You can always reach us at success@poetexas.com or talk to a real person by giving us a phone call at 512-479-0317. We have technical experts. They're ready to help answer your questions and take care of any of these weird mode questions. And we promise we won't just give you the, oh, we think you got a mode problem. We'll actually talk you through it and help you find a solution. So with that, I'll remind you that you can find more on these topics on our technical pages on our website. And I'll drop this in here like that so you can see the blog where you can find more about mode A and mode B. You can always find out more about us on YouTube, either through Microcom's YouTube channel or our own, or by speaking to your own PoE expert. So with that, Julie, I've covered the topic today, mode A versus mode B, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Tyler. We greatly appreciate that. Here we go. This is a good question right off the top. When a person buys a product, how will they determine, or how is it known if the device they're getting is mode A or mode B or both?
That's a great question, and one I should have covered very clearly on the webinar. On our products, it's actually in the product name. We always specify the mode in the product name. For example, if you look at our product on Microcom, there's a 4-port injector that says that the product name is GPOE4A, 48 volt, 48 watt. And that's very specific because that's where we specify the GPOE is gigabit PoE 4-port mode A only. If you look at our other injector, it says GPOE1 8 volt 15 watt. That injector specifically has the B there, so it specifies mode A or mode B. When it comes to our networking or switch hardware, we often have the specification in there, whether it's mode A or mode B, or if it's just IEEE, we cover both mode A and B. And so typically, like if you look at our switches, we would say GATS, that would be a mode A product. If you look at our other switches, we call it the GBT. The BT stands for the BT power rating, so it's mode AB. So it's in our part numbers. When you buy a PoE Texas product, we could tell you in seconds whether it's mode A or mode B, and it's in our specification sheets. Now, when it comes to other manufacturers, that's a little bit more difficult to narrow down. Sometimes we actually have to test them. If you don't know for certain and you really want to know, like if you're like, I think this is a problem, what I'd recommend doing is we sell our PoE tester on Microcom. The PoE tester itself is designed to tell you which mode your PoE powers on. So if you plug in our tester, there's a little button, you flip it on, and it turns on and it negotiates with the switch or device you're talking to. And it'll tell you whether it's mode A, mode B, or mode AB.
Thank you so much for that clarification, Tyler. It sounded like really important to know. Going into that detail, thank you. Next question here. Let's see. Can you tell us about the warranties on these and where they're manufactured?
That's a great question. We offer a 1-year manufacturer warranty on all of our products. So if you buy it and you have any issues within the first year, we'll take care of it with you. We do have live people who help you. If you call that number that I posted on the screen earlier, let me go here. If you come here to this one, you're going to get a real live person who is empowered to take care of your problem. And if you go to our website and check in with your product on the specification, most of our products, you simply open it, it's got a QR code, it's going to take you to the manual. You can use the manual to register your product. If you register your product with us, we'll give you a 3-year warranty period for manufacturer problems. So that's how we handle our warranties. Now, in terms of where we manufacture our products in many different locations. We do some manufacturing in the US, we do some of our manufacturing in China, And I like to explain to people, when Apple stops building iPads in China, we'll stop building products in China as well. But we do manufacturing in China and the U.S. If that's a particular concern and you need to make sure you specify for your customer, you can always ask, talk to any of our teammates, and they can tell you which products are produced where.
Tyler, thank you so much for that information. Everyone always likes to know that, so thank you. Next question for you here. Which do you think will be universal, if that is a valid question, mode A or mode B?
Great question. Like I mentioned in the presentation, if you're dealing with 24-volt passive PoE, it's always got to be mode B. If you're dealing with IEEE standard PoE devices, mode A is fairly universal. And if you just really don't know, we can also supply mode A, B products, so you would get power in mode A or B, and then you don't even have to care. But the note here is you have to have 24-volt power if you're going with a 24-volt passive device. So in that case, it would still be mode B, but you have to be 24-volt on mode B.
Thank you so much. Next question here. What is the worst scenario that could happen if you use a different mode device on a PoE device?
Great question. As long as you're using a PoE device, there's two potential worst case scenarios that I'll talk about. If you just have a mode confusion where you've got a PoE switch that does mode B and your PoE device only does mode A, the worst situation is it's just not going to power on. And 24-volt passive is designed so that you can't accidentally damage a normal PoE device by plugging. If I plugged a 24-volt passive injector into a traditional PoE camera or phone, it just won't power on. It's not going to cause any damage. But the actual worst case scenario is probably the one we found with those Ubiquiti air fibers. And here's why. It's a mode A-B device, and we matched on polarity on mode B, but we didn't match on polarity with mode A. So what happened, and this is why it's the worst case scenario, what happened is the radios or the Wi-Fi access points do power on, and they power on and behave very normally up until the moment that you go above the power you can provide on the mode B only wires. And when it tried to run on the mode A wires, since they were reverse polarity, they wouldn't power on. So what you would have is the radio would work fine 80% of the time. And then randomly one day during the busiest time, obviously, because you know things only fail when it's really busy. I've never had anything, by the way, I've never had anything fail Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock. It's always Sunday morning at 10 a.m. or Sunday morning at 8 a.m. that everything always fails. But what happens is when the demand on that radio exceeded the 25 or 30 watts you could do on mode B, and it started to demand the mode A power, the radio would turn off and would go into overload. So, or wouldn't have enough power to run it, so it would turn off the radio, and then a few seconds later it would come back on. So the worst case scenario is if you don't know you've got enough power, you don't know if it's mode A or mode B, and it is mode AB, you could have some random shutdowns that occasionally happen when the demand is highest on the device. So that's probably, if I were to try and give you like the absolute worst case scenario, that would happen. But your normal situation is if you just missed on mode A or B, it just won't power on. You just switch to the other mode and it powers on.
Thank you, Tyler, for that. Question for you. The phone number that you are showing at the bottom of your screen, is that for anybody to call for technical support, meaning either an end user, which would be our customers, of course, maybe not, maybe, another distributor even, or us here at Microcom? Is that the number to call for tech support?
That is the general technical support line. So yes, if you call that number, you'll speak to somebody who can answer all of your questions. It is not specific to Microcom or another distributor. So you would reach a PoE Texas employee, a real person in Austin, Texas, if you called that number.
Excellent, thank you. Regarding some training videos or some technical videos that you have produced, what else could somebody find on your website? I know that, obviously some tech support, your products. Is there a community that one could find on your website? Or what else might we be missing that, could be informative?
Great question. So our YouTube channel is very active. So if you go to PoE Texas on YouTube, you'll find we're very active. We're posting videos regularly, like weekly at worst, typically a couple times a week. And all kinds of tutorial videos. We cover everything from our lighting and automation down to how to install a product, how to terminate a cable. There's all kinds of information you'll find on our YouTube channel, and that translates over and we cross-link it to our website. So if you go, I think probably the area people miss the most or get the least value out of is our learning channel. So we've got on our PoE Texas, when the bar comes across the top, there's support, there's a learning center. We have tutorials, we have blogs, we have a lot of content in there to help people understand Power over Ethernet, because we know it's not something you deal with every day. And so we try and act as the experts. You will, of course, find all of our product information on our technical center. That's just below the learning center. And we have videos. The reason why we go with QR codes for our manuals is because we have all that technical information online, but then we also provide video content. So you can see how to wire up the product, how to terminate the product, how to configure the product, all through video and content. You'll see us use the products. So it's a very rich experience when it comes to technical information, both through our website and through YouTube. If you want to just meet other people who are doing PoE products, we recommend Converge PoE, which is our Facebook channel. You can speak to experts, you can speak to other members, get questions answered. It's all there on our Converge PoE environment. So those would be the areas that I'd recommend that most people don't know about.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Tyler. Yeah, folks on our end always like to know about blogs and like they call it the community center type of deal, to talk to other people. But of course, calling you direct could be the best for, seriously technical support, I guess you could say. I want to talk to Tyler about this. Anyway, thank you again for answering all those questions for us, and thank you to everyone for attending today's webinar. And if anyone does have any further questions, please feel free to contact your sales rep or email us at sales@microcomtech.com, and we'll see what we can do to help you, of course. And if you wish to view any of the products mentioned or shown today, we may have them. Please visit us at www.microcom.us. And remember, this webinar presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel so you can view it again. Tyler, it's been the best as always, and until next time, have a fantastic day. Everybody, the same thing. Everybody have a fantastic day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye, Tyler.